Hey everybody, Jonas Callis here of the Hurt at Work Workers' Compensation Law Firm. Many of you know me as the Workers' Comp Guy. First, the obligatory disclaimer. The following information is meant for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice to anyone, nor does it create an attorney-client privilege with anyone. So today, I am continuing my discussion of benefits which are available to injured Virginia workers pursuant to the Virginia Workers' Compensation Act. And today I'll be discussing an important benefit available to injured workers who are collecting or have collected at some point in time temporary total disability benefits, permanent total disability benefits, or to family members who are collecting workers' compensation death benefits for an unfortunate accident. Pursuant to Virginia Code Section 65.2-709, in an effort to ensure that the value of certain wage loss replacement benefits or death benefits are not diminished as a result of inflation, I guess the Virginia General Assembly enacted the code to kind of allow for a cost of living adjustment, or some people call it a COLA adjustment, to those certain individuals who are receiving temporary total disability, permanent total disability, or again, family members or beneficiaries, workers' compensation beneficiaries who are receiving death benefits. So why do cost of living adjustments matter? Because ultimately, they're not the largest increase at any one time. So why do they matter? Well, the short and obvious answer is a COLA increase, whatever it is, means more money in the injured worker's bank account or in the family member's bank account. The whole point of, you have to remember, the whole point of wage loss replacement benefits, let's take temporary total disability benefits, for example, is to approximate the earnings of the injured worker at the time of his or her work accident, or at the time they found out that they had developed a disease or condition related to their work. Okay, so we're all adults here, so I'm assuming we know about inflation and the concept that the value of a dollar diminishes over time, right? So the whole point of, so the workers' compensation COLA adjustments, similar to Social Security COLA adjustments, are simply designed to address inflation and to basically, cancel out cancel out inflation, I guess, is the best way to put it. In fact, the annual COLA adjustment is actually determined by reference to whatever increase there is, usually it's an increase, whatever increase there is in the United States Average Consumer Price Index, which is published by the Bureau of Labor Statistics of the United States Department of Labor. So it literally is pegged to inflation. The COLA adjustment is pegged to inflation. So that's the first reason, and it's kind of obvious. It's more money, right? So the second reason why COLA adjustments are important is because cost of living increases over time. They're compounded. So these increases over time result in a more valuable, if you're earning more money per week, then it increases the overall value of your claim. Like, for example, when it comes time to talk settlement of your claim, okay? Now, a lot of injuries, I get it. A lot of injuries are more short-term in nature. They don't have long-lasting effects. It's not as big of a deal. You may not even last a year, so there's really no applicability of a COLA adjustment per se, necessarily. But some claims do. And a claim like I've talked about this in other videos, and it's referenced and discussed on my website. Injured workers can collect temporary total disability, temporary partial disability, permanent partial disability, and or some combination of those three for up to 500 weeks. 500 weeks is almost 10 years. Okay, some claims last that long, right? If you have a claim for if your claim, and who knows it at the time, but if your claim ends up lasting for 9 years, right? Say your injuries are somewhat significant and you always have these permanent or restrictions and this, that, and the other. If your claim lasts for 9.5 years, right? Even these small annual COLA increases, right? Like even small numbers, when you multiply them by big numbers, right, become something that's appreciable, right? So COLA increases do matter, and to the extent that your average, your weekly paycheck, say, right, their weekly, I shouldn't say paycheck, your weekly workers' compensation benefit is increased each week, right? Well, over the course of another year, and then you get another year after that, another year after that, all of a sudden you're looking at a higher payment rate each week, right? And that's something that has to be folded in when the insurance claims adjuster tries to figure out how much your claim is worth, right? So that can net you more money in the end in terms of, if and when your claim settles. So that's the second reason why it's important. So who qualifies to receive cost of living adjustments in the Virginia Workers' Compensation Commission? We've already discussed it, really. Injured workers who are receiving temporary total disability benefits or permanent total disability benefits, as discussed elsewhere on my website and also in other YouTube videos. But also individuals receiving death benefits pursuant to the Virginia Workers' Compensation Act as a result of the loss of a loved one due to a fatal work accident. They are all, these three categories, I guess, are entitled to a cost of living adjustment so long as they are not under 65 and receiving Social Security disability benefits, right? That's who's entitled to it. It's pretty simple. How does an eligible injured worker or family member apply for COLA benefits? So you can get them, but how do you get them, right? How do they come about? Because obviously you're not sure, the COLA increase, the number for each year doesn't come out until, the next year, right? So how do you get them? Well, is it an automatic thing or not? It's not, right? It's not. The COLA benefits, COLA adjustments are not self-executing. What does that mean? It means the injured worker or the family member collecting death benefits must file a claim for benefits with the Virginia Workers' Compensation Commission, specifically requesting COLA adjustment, COLA benefits. Importantly, as part of the application, or if the injured worker or family member forgets or fails to include it as part of the application, the commission will request from them a statement from the Social Security Administration advising as to whether Social Security disability benefits are being received at all, and if so, what amount. They have to have that before they can do it, before they can award or decline to award COLA benefits. Why is that? Well, because federal law states that if an injured worker receives workers' compensation and Social Security disability benefits, the combined total amount of those benefits cannot exceed 80% of whatever the injured worker was earning at the time of the accident. Okay, so I think that's also called the 80% rule in most circles. So assuming the other qualifications are met, a claimant can file for COLA increases over the life of a claim, each of which is compounded over the previous COLA increase. Is what I talked about earlier. It can gradually increase the value of the weekly payment, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, depending on what, the starting compensation rate and the COLA increases over time. One last note, since I just mentioned that injured worker or family member can file for a claim each year. Unlike, I think most other benefits, I want to say most other benefits in the Virginia Workers' Compensation Commission, COLA benefits, COLA adjustments, COLA increases are not subject to any statute of limitations. What does that mean? Well, that means you can file for them at any time. If your claim lasts 8 years, you can be, in the eighth year, you can be like, oh, you know what? I've been entitled to COLA adjustments all this time. Let me go ahead and file for one retroactive over the past 8 years. And you can do that, right? It hasn't expired with COLA adjustments. So, assuming other qualifications are met, you can file for COLA adjustments up at any point up to settlement or closure of your workers' compensation claim. I think that's all. In terms of general, fundamental, basic knowledge, I think that's all I have to say about COLA benefits or cost of living adjustments available in the Virginia Workers' Compensation Commission. I hope you found this video and my other videos and my website helpful. That's the whole point of them. Thank you for watching. For more information, check out my website. It's www.hurtatworkinva.com. That's www.hurtatworkinva.com. Also, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube for other information and videos. These are all designed to help the injured worker, someone who is hurt at work, who is really not supposed to necessarily know anything about Virginia workers' compensation, certainly not from a legal perspective. That's what this is there for. It's to provide some basic knowledge so so injured workers can get their bearings and know what's going on with their claim, because it's become kind of technical. And if you find this information helpful, this information, other videos, my website, chances are someone else would find it helpful. Maybe a family or a friend. Maybe a family member or a friend knows someone else that you aren't even aware of who's going through the same thing you're going through. They're fighting a claim that probably should be accepted but hasn't been for reason of some technicality, right? Well, maybe they would find my website or the videos helpful. So, I'm trying to get the word out and spread this information. It's free information. The only problem is digging it up, right? Well, I've kind of dug it up, right? It's all in the same place. It's easy to find here. So I'm trying to get the word out and disseminate this information to everybody who might need it at some point. I always feel like it's better to have the information and not need it, or at least know where to go to get it, right? Than it is to need the information and not have it. Because if you need it and don't have it, like you can shoot yourself in the, I've seen it many times. Injured workers can shoot themselves in the foot because they don't really know what to ask for or how to prove it, how to prove their entitlement to it. So that's all I got. Until next time, stay safe and don't get hurt at work.